A very good morning to everybody. So we are back. This is Roger and Chakra-Show, and we are back with our freak show.
Yeah,
Welcome
we are with
everybody.
our freak show. This is, like it reminds me of the old Punch and Judy shows, which we had at the fairgrounds. We are starting to turn into a comedy act, but no fears. However funny we may come through, as I think this show has some really, really serious objectives. Anyway, so
Definitely.
so here a warm welcome from Roger and Chakra. Yeah, here we are.
Yes.
Roger, you go first.
Okay. So thing is, so this is a continuation to our last show where we covered quite a few topics there, but most of it was from the perspective of a 13-year-old. The main topic was alienation. Yes, the main topic was alienation, but then again, a lot of things came, in the vicinity of alienation. For example, double standards came in, um, melting down of the walls came in, and yeah, here we were supposed to talk about the difference of a 13-year-old. I mean, from the perspective of a child who is in her early teens, and then from the perspective of a person who is probably in their late teens or their early 20s. What's the difference in the alienation, or you
Hmm.
know is it the same alienation, because probably the point of view through which we look at the world changes a lot throughout this time? Is it the same alienation, or is it different?
Okay, I'll take this up.
Yep.
What do you feel about this? You must have had this sense of alienation when you were 13.
uh Probably, I mean,
You're not, you didn't pay that
I
much attention to it. I mean,
yeah, I didn't pay that much attention to it when I was 13. What I was doing when I was 13, I was I was doing crazy things. Like I was
louder,
running out of
Roger,
the
louder,
house with my
louder, louder.
bicycle.
Roger,
Okay.
louder.
Am I audible? Is it
Yes.
is it is it better?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but you have to keep speaking louder.
Okay.
Don't feel alienated from the mic.
No, when I was 13, what I was doing,
Ah,
I was fooling around. I was playing with my friends. I was probably, I mean, the situation at my house wasn't so good, but then again, apart from that, I was going out of the house with my bicycle and was just riding here and there. Nobody knew, definitely nobody knew, because or else I wouldn't have done it continuously. They would have stopped me. But then
where
again,
were you
yeah.
riding your bicycle?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you riding your bicycle? To some out of bounds
Uh,
places.
yes, yeah. I mean,
Like where? Like where? Let's hear about it.
like, where we don't know the names of the places. Okay, so
Hmm.
one day what happened is, I was talking to you about that friend who went to Russia, no?
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
who passed away.
Yes.
So one day what happened is, he called me up. I mean, he didn't call me up. He called the telephone in our house, and I was the
So
only
you
one
mean
away.
that time you had one of those landlines?
Yes,
You
yes.
still have that?
Yeah, it's there. The telephone is there.
The line is not there, you mean?
The line is not there.
This is one of those old BSNL lines, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, if you're receiving this chat show, well, wherever you are, enjoying your morning coffee or trying to crawl out of bed, please know that I'm also coming in from one of those good old landlines. This landline has been with me since 1997. It has evolved along with me. It marks a point of of my deepest alienation from wherever I was, which I think I have spoken about. It was the time I broke free of my my corporate incarceration, so to say.
Yes.
And the world outside just crumbled around me. because that is when you realize how much the attachment to something hollow is what keeps sustaining you. And it is only when you let go of that that you understand that you have done nothing to be your own person. And you have
Exactly.
become so dependent on that framework that when you're thrown out on your own, you see, a lot of people have a breakdown and then they quit their jobs.
It's true.
I
They do.
quit my job with a straight face, and after a few days after I put in my papers, I had the breakdown. It was something irreversible. So, can you imagine? I mean, if somebody takes a decision to end their life,
How
and
much on the edge
in
are
that,
they?
how often we hear about somebody who decided to end their life, made all the plans, and then panicked.
Uh,
And thankfully,
yeah.
they panic.
They
Thankfully, when they
thankfully they
panic,
panicked.
at least
Yes.
the life doesn't end. I'm going quite off
Uh,
topic. So tell me where you
yeah.
cycled to.
Okay. Where did we go with this on the bicycle?
Yes. He called you up, called the landline up once.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So and then I was the only one who was awake at that point of time because probably I was having my we were having our summer vacations or something.
Hmm.
I don't remember.
Hmm.
Um, and then he said that bhai cho cycle kore berobi. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, let's go. And my grandma was there,
Louder,
so I
Raja,
said,
louder.
yeah. So my grandmother was there, and I said that I'm going out to play,
Hmm.
right? So I met him, and then we kept on riding the bicycle. We kept on talking, and we kept on laughing. I was there, he was there, and two of our other friends were there. And we kept laughing, chatting, and we kept riding the bicycle through a like it was a highway, and we kept on
Hmm.
going and going. I mean,
Goodness. Hey,
we had no clue where we were going, so we just wanted to explore. So we just kept on and we kept riding for like 2.5 hours or something.
freewheeling.
And then and then finally we reached this small shop. They were selling fries, like chopped shingara and everything. So they were selling fries, and we decided ki yeah, it's already been 2.5 hours, so let's have some fries and let's get back home. It's gonna be like either ways it's gonna take the same amount of time to get back home. So that's
You,
what we did. We came back home, and yeah, we used to do that often.
you came back
We
home,
that's
and you were not asked what's going on. I mean, where the hell did you go? Nobody was bothered
No,
to ask you where you went.
nobody was at home at that point. My mom went to school, and I was having my summer
You
vacations,
had
and
vacations and mom had school.
yeah, probably it was something. I mean, they had to go for a few days even after the vacation started for the students.
Okay,
So,
okay. But basically, for you, you sort of had a break-free moment.
yeah.
This was what, your paternal grandma who passed away.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. And when you got back, what did your grandma say?
She said that where were you? I said that I was at his place. I was at Aniket's place. That's what I
So
said.
that's the first time you learned to lie.
Probably. I mean, I was a very honest person. I was
Yeah.
a very honest person. I still try not to lie.
Hmm.
If it's not a very big emergency, I try never to lie.
Hmm.
And it's been hardwired in my system from the very childhood. So
Hmm.
that was a scenario when
You
I,
haven't been long enough with a corporate. Actually, you're 25 going on 26, right?
yeah.
When I had just crossed 24, I got my first job. And I was in my very first job, I was very honest. And I have no idea who else was honest, because in 3 months the company folded up. I don't know if too much honesty gets you to fold up or too much
Uh,
dishonesty gets you
no,
to fold.
corporate is the place where you learn to lie.
The corporate is the place where you learn to lie,
Sugarcoat.
and you learn to sugarcoat. You learn to do all kinds of things, which you also learn very clearly that you shouldn't be doing those things. You have a
Yes.
very clear idea of what you're doing wrong.
Because you are doing all of these things unwillingly, so
You're doing,
definitely
you
you.
see, initially you do them unwittingly. You think,
Yes.
sometimes you fall for what they tell you, during induction. See, induction,
Yes.
nowadays you hear the word induction about cookers. What does an induction cooker do? It
It
induces
uses
the
the
heat
electricity.
towards the food and it destroys all life in the food.
Basically, yes.
Basically, that's
That's
what
what
it
it does.
does. That's what it does. So, what would an
Yes.
induction training do in a corporate?
Take all of your qualities, crumble them, and throw them away, turn you into a robot.
Hmm. Or maybe just get you into the induction cooker and suck all the juice out of you, so that you're stewing in your own juice basically.
Yes, I mean that's
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 exactly
uh,
what you do. The juice
sounds more
comes out, you're
appropriate.
stewing in the juice, and it's like, it's like that Samudra Manthan, you're left with the poison, and the Amrit keeps coming to the top, and they know how to siphon it out.
Yes,
And you keep
definitely
stewing
they
in
do.
that. And when you have stewed, to the point of there being no more juice to take out of you, you and the poisoned liquid are all discarded.
Yes,
So the time you
definitely.
decide to break free and you come out, you throw yourself out, because
Yes.
heat is too much in that. But it's that frog in the well syndrome. The frog eventually dies because that's a very the frog in that boiling water, that you're slow cooking. You put a frog in
Yeah,
the boiling water and you're
in the
slow
boiling
cooking.
water. So
The
yes.
frog, yeah, the frog doesn't know. So you see, but then I'm not a frog. I come to know. Some of us take
Yes.
some of us take
Critical
longer
thinking.
to come to know. Some of us are already cooked and finished off and eaten before we even get a chance.
Most of them are. I mean,
Yes.
yes.
So
Critical thinking. That's how we come to know that yeah,
yeah,
we are being boiled,
yes,
we are being
yes, yes,
cooked.
yes, yes. And in that heat, because it's induction, remember, slowly sucking the heat in and retaining,
That's what they do.
and it builds up a lot of heat there, and you don't know when it's building that heat up. And when everything is slowly turning into edible meat,
Yes.
it helps, it helps when you have handled a lot of non-veg food. And it helps even more when you have cooked it, because you watch the whole grisly process from the start.
Exactly. I mean, it
except
helps
that
you do what?
except that you don't I think there are some forms of cooking where they actually boil, or stew or thing, literally, over time. This induction cooking sort of thing is actually done
Mm,
with a
yes.
heater
Yes,
that's
yes.
supposed to make it most tasty or something, imagine. So this is where they learn from, huh? From the culinary arts. That's where the corporates learn from.
And we are just taking in metaphors from those things.
Yeah, we are taking rather a lot of metaphors, and this is a little grisly for our audience before breakfast. So quickly, let me illustrate that it's a very
Yes.
traumatic moment of realizing your alienation when you decide to make that break. So boom, out you go. And I'm halfway to 40. I mean, halfway between 39 and 40 when I make that break. So that is an adult's perception of that, that moment, that epiphany, that light bulb when you say, look, I understand everything. I understand I've been feeding myself a lot of lies to keep going from one day to the next. And the full package of your truth, your lies, your everything, the sum total of the truths and lies outside you, the truths and lies inside you, it all suddenly comes crashing down in that moment. And I think that that moment when I threw myself out of that boiling cauldron, boiling cooking pot, and I came out, that is when I realized, like the bat, I don't belong in there, nor do I belong out here. I found myself again in a total terra incognita. And that complete disorientation, that moment of utter and total alienation is what caused the breakdown. So I'm glad you brought this subject up.
Yes, because this needs to be discussed, because alienation, I feel alienation, in our last chat show, you said that it was basically the same alienation, but then again, uh, probably we feel different because throughout time uh, we change our perspective towards a lot of things, and
Mm, mm,
hence we see it differently.
mm, mm.
And so that was, yes.
So
I'm
you went out cycling, and there was that sense of, maybe that first sense of escaping the system without giving it too much
probably.
thought, without giving it too much thought.
Exactly. We didn't give it
And
too much
then
thought, but then
that
again,
quick white lie, I was at his place. His place, if you go by my definition of place, could be anywhere. A place you share with him is his place. It's equally your place. And that place is in motion. And that place is on a bicycle, feeling the wind in your hair.
absolutely.
And
I
just
want
feeling
to
you
ride
have
my
been released
bicycle.
from everything. Sing, 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 sing,
Just
sing.
that. No, you just carry on. It's
I mean, this kind of a class is meant for all this: singing, dancing, playing, role play. Sing, sing, sing what you were singing.
I
Sing,
was singing that song. Is there a Freddy's song? I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike.
sing it loudly. Let the audience hear you.
The audience is gonna hear me. I'll cover the song.
You covered the song.
I will
You
probably
then you still have to cover Stairway, because today's topic, today's aliens actually
climbed up
show
the
their,
stairs.
yes, they show their complete that moment of alienation is shown to you when, well, again, I have to give away the plot. When the person with the phone, you see, that phone is really the boy I spoke about, who has the phone and
Yes.
who misuses the phone and whose phone is taken away.
Yes.
The
Yes.
thing
And
that he holds on to is that is his support system, and that very support system is taken away. the
yes.
story the story actually ends in the recovery of his phone. It's not quite a happily ever after, but the phone comes back, and the phone
Yeah,
comes back.
this is the other script where the
This
father
is
and the child, they were communicating
the
through.
script which I started working on when I was,
Yes.
how old was I? 48 plus.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So there was this period when I navigated so much between that, that 39 plus and reaching up to the point of 48 plus. And it took me all those years between that 39 plus and 48 plus, and all my various, I mean, that period was absolutely packed, jam packed with all kinds of good things, as little bits and pieces of finding myself, finding lost and hidden parts of myself, finding undiscovered parts of myself. It all started coming together. So this frog that missed being killed but was kind of mauled and mutilated came, managed to gather up, regenerate, and heal. And all that, that intervening time is really about this never not broken and never not healing, and this continuum of how, as over time you understand, you tune into the fact that there is some kind of wear and tear in your The maximum, where does the, what is wear and tear? You see, like your car tire, it comes up on a rough road. That's a conflict.
Yes.
That is a conflict. Your car is supposed to move on a car worthy road. Just as they check, uh, they talk of a car being roadworthy, but nothing happens to the road because of the car. It's, if the car is not roadworthy, the persons on the road may come to harm. That's all
Absolutely.
roadworthy means. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so that is very, that is severe conflict. You could kill
Yes.
someone, you could hit someone if your car is not roadworthy. Your car could go apart and you could get killed. The broken pieces therefrom could damage you, damage somebody else, and lead to some kind of a crisis. Therefore, the car has to be roadworthy.
Absolutely.
But the road also has to be car worthy, right? And I don't think our
Yes.
corporate roads are in any way person worthy. And they are not. I mean, look, once again, like I spoke about all those people behind boards, let no good, well meaning corporate take offense at what I'm saying. There must be that 1% somewhere, hidden somewhere. And then in all these bad, so called bad places, there'll always be this 1% of good folks
Yeah.
who redeem the overall. But today, when you see what, how every blessed person who was mm, mishandling funds, manhandling persons inside a corporate is today a thriving politician, or he is the power behind the throne.
Yes.
In every
Uh,
political scenario, in every social scenario, in every blessed, I mean, now it is all socio political.
so should we say that power corrupts, or is it just a historical tendency of, corrupt men that they convince
Grasping
people
towards
enough
power.
to
Yes,
gain the power?
yes, yes, yes. Because our concept of power would be different, I think, without this this self-corrupting mechanism. The corrupt ones are the ones who become the power centers. Because
So
corruption,
it's not
like,
power that is to be blamed.
no, see,
It's them.
corruption, you also have Shakti, what we talk of, great strength,
Yes.
or what, or the full power we scream about in the gigs. Which,
Yes.
please, again, keep your volume up.
All right. All right. I'm going to speak
Because
loudly.
unfortunately, on Zoom, the loudest person wins. I don't like that the loudest person is to win, but then after all, Zoom is also a corporate. Come to think of it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I
so the
mean,
bullying voice becomes the dominant voice. So even if you're not a bully, please sound like one. Sound like the high school bully when you're on the chat show.
okay.
So
I mean, yeah.
that was your alienation, right? It wasn't, you didn't perceive it as alienation, you perceived it as having some fun.
Probably, yes.
Probably
Yes.
you didn't even stop to think of how you perceived it. You just did it. You lived in the moment. Children live in the moment. The boy and girl who run away from home also, I'm sure, had not made any smart calculations about what was going to happen. That was impulsive behavior. They make a plan, like you read these Enid Blyton books and you get these plans from them. What, the kids run away somewhere, they go into the woods, they go explore a castle, blah, blah, blah. And that fantasy world also is, that fantasy world probably in, in a situation where home life is so bleak that there must have been a lot of that fantasy world playing in their lives.
Absolutely.
So they would have
Absolutely.
been definitely influenced by the all those stories they read. I mean, I too would play these little pretend games, go into a corner and play the fool with myself in a very harmless way.
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
I think everybody does that.
Everybody
Everybody has
does
done that.
that, and this is where you go out of bounds, and we let you go out of bounds, and we still keep that watchful eye.
Exactly.
And this is where the system fails you. This is where we could use our cell phones meaningfully, but we don't. Instead, we use them for sitting in the same room
Yeah.
and texting one another.
Yeah.
See, the
Like the father and the son.
dysfunctionality goes back very deep. But anyway, alienation, when I came back to that, as in when I came back to expressing myself on it, I mean, I think I
Mhm.
navigated a lot of things between 1997 and 2005. I mean, there were so many forms of alienation that I navigated, so many forms of self-realization, self-empowerment. And when you come to think of it, what drove me to take my very first corporate job was also alienation from the then social and family system, which had certain
Right.
expectations from everybody. If you
Everybody,
were,
yes.
from one of those educated families, there were certain fixed set of expectations from everybody, and there was this the larger expectation from a girl, and certain fears and restrictive norms around a girl, all of which I was challenging. There's
Yes.
no more meaningful way of breaking free available to me in 1981 than to go get a job, live on my own, and say
I mean, that was your
I am
only key to
that
freedom
was
at
the
that
only,
point of
there
time.
are so many. You see, when I got out of there, I realized that's also another key to freedom, except I wasn't ready for the um, very chaotic world that I found that I opted to throw myself into when I quit the job. So you see how much we hold on to these crutches, either the social system. I mean, I challenge the whole system of, okay, your family protects you, your marriage, get married for to be protected, etc., etc. The things, the all those stories which are played out to you when you're going from teens into 20s, when you're getting
Yes.
to finish your graduation and your post graduation, and then move to the next stage of life. So when you do that, I mean, it's that thing has been fed into you, and you say, I don't like it, but then what are you actually doing? You have very limited vision at that point of the real world, because let's face it, you have not been given any chance to sample the real world. Some children have it very rough,
Exactly.
but if you have been protected in the way I was, then, and the funny thing is, I don't know why I made the choices I made, because I saw along the way that the corporate world was not innocent. But
It is not.
somewhere I got it into my head that there was something very genuine and honest about IT. So it appears. You see, that is a double-edged weapon.
So
Before
that's the lies they're feeding you, you said?
but then I knew, I could understand it was a double-edged weapon, because
Exactly.
even before I went in, even before I started applying for jobs, etc., and I was floating around in that zone, between finishing my masters, and basically I often go into these do nothing zones, and I think these do nothing zones are the ones where I do the most. But then the world says you're a drifter, you're doing nothing, you're this, you're that. Again, that judgment is imposed on you. And just to get away from that,
Uh,
you feel tortured
I
all the time. So again, you jump from, you take the jump more carelessly than you otherwise would if you were left alone to enjoy that space and actually educate yourself in that that free time. what I call those breaks. Those today I embrace those breaks. I considering how many times any course I follow, any pathway I follow has come to these almost dead ends. These points of apparent stagnation, which also I have written about in a blog post, which is called Secrets from the Marsh. I have a post
Yes.
on Unwritten called Secrets from the Marsh. And I think we all need that time to be left in peace in the marsh. And then if someone invades your marsh and says, oh, let's stir this place up and let's domesticate this marsh, then the purpose is not served. So you see, you're always under threat, and being constantly under threat is not a very healthy way to be. And then it
It
took me
doesn't allow you to be
years
vulnerable.
of breaking down, coming back from breakdowns. In that period between the age of 39 and 48, I must have had 3 breakdowns. I've put up a Facebook status, breakdown to breakthrough. You may have noticed it. I put up that status.
Yes,
You
I
can
did.
check that
I
out
did.
and maybe you can write a response there. Now, our friend says 7 minutes, but I have something really important to say. What was I talking about? The story of alienation.
Yes.
So, by the time I had navigated all these years, I came to a complete realization of how we are all alienated. And how, it's like what's wrong with the world. And yet, it is so easy to make everything okay with the world. And I sort of, in a way, I wasn't thinking of my play, The Alien, to that extent when I wrote this screenplay, so to say, with my mother, with the Led Zeppelin songs in it. Because
Yes. Yes.
I wasn't thinking that much about what it's in fact, I came back to the Alien in a big way only through this chat show. So I would not have gone back to the Alien if I hadn't found a fresh, a reconnection with my school days through a series of events in the past 2-3 months. So because there was this kind of, what shall I say, the tape rebound, and I suddenly found myself feeling the same feelings and the same, I found myself reliving myself as that person. And that's when I understood the utter simplicity, the innocence of that time. And what I was dealing with, like, I suddenly did, a rapid rewind of that tape, and then another very swift fast forward to what happened in 2006 when we started brainstorming on the play. And
You started.
yeah,
You started brainstorming on which play?
the
The
new play,
Alien. The new play. The new
the
play.
new play. We started thinking about this new play because it started. I told you about the boy who was kicked out of school, and you see those themes of, they brought me back to all this, whether you're kicked out or you kick yourself out. Even if you kick yourself out, there has been something to provoke you to kick yourself out, right?
Definitely.
I may have kicked
Definitely.
myself
Yes.
out because I felt the kicks landing on me. I was being kicked, and I know for a fact that if I hadn't jumped out, I would have been kicked out. That's, I mean,
And your reflex worked.
that's a bitter truth.
Yes, it is.
When the
It
corporate is
definitely
done with you,
is.
it kicks you out. But then
It does.
I've seen it so many times in my life, yet why did I repeat the pattern of falling back into a corporate? It's like when you're that young and that naive, you think that you can somehow rectify one thing by repeating it and trying to show that it's not all wrong, that it can be right. That
There
it
could
doesn't
be
have
another
to be
point of
bad,
view as
that
well.
you have to sort of, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's very deep, it's very complex. But it has taken a
No,
lot
it's
of,
another,
yeah.
yeah, there's another point of view to it. If you ask me, it could
Hmm.
be, that throughout your childhood, I mean, throughout your late teens, and then you're just 20, and then you're 21 and 22. So throughout this particular time, you are
Hmm.
constantly being, dictated about the kind of life that you are about to lead
Hmm.
after a couple of years.
Hmm.
That's what they say. You like after a couple of years, you're gonna get a job. After a
Hmm.
couple of years, you're gonna get married.
Hmm.
Then after a couple of years, you're gonna have a kid, and that's what
Right.
they keep on telling you.
Yes.
And the moment you're stepping in the real world,
Hmm.
uh, you don't have time to explore the other possibilities, and you only have one safe way that that has been dictated to you.
Right, you are
So rather than
absolutely right.
exploring and
So
messing up,
you take the, you're given, the, like in those days the restaurant menus were very limited. So you can
because the
only,
support system is gone, no?
you don't think beyond whatever you see on that menu. You stop thinking. In fact I did do a few stupid things, like when I was, not stupid things, creative things. When I was on my own, I would take all sorts of ingredients and start cooking, experimental cooking. You see, because there was nobody else to feed, only me to feed, so it was no big deal. But anyway, Zoom is after us now, so let's take a quick break
Yes,
and we'll be
absolutely.
right
Let's come back
back. I
after a
think
quick
this has
break.
been very, very deep this time. It
Yes,
seems to get deeper all
I
the time. Anyway,
yes, I think so.
back
I have
soon.
more questions.
Yeah, you have to get all your questions ready. I'll have another coffee and I'll be back soon.
Absolutely.
Right, bye.
Absolutely. Bye bye.